Headway. Today, we're going to study lesson 11 together. Are you ready? I'm ready. Are you? Of course, I think you are. Okay, today, we're going to talk about lying as a child. Just think about your childhood. Back then, did you lie a lot or not? What? Oh, okay. As a child, I sometimes lied. But you know why? It was kind of a white lie and I could not distinguish reality from my imagination. 네, 제가 어렸을 때요, 거짓말을 조금 했었던 것 같은데요. 그러니까 대체로 이렇게 책을 읽고 나서 그 상상 속에 이렇게 펼쳐지는 이야기와 현실이 구분이 안 돼가지고 예를 들어서 이런 거죠. Mom, I saw this rabbit passing by me and he watched its watch and said, it's 9 o'clock. You have to follow me. But I couldn't follow him because, I had a homework to do or something like that. It was kind of a very strange lie though, right? To others' eyes or to their ears maybe, right? 어른들이 듣기에는 말이죠. 굉장히 이런 상상 속에서 토끼가 지나갔는데 시계를 보고서는 나한테 9시라 그랬어. 그리고서는 나보고 따라오라는 거 나 숙제할 거 있어서 안 따라갔어. Something like that. 네, 이런 거짓말을 딱 들으면 어른들은 얘가 진짜 거짓말하네. 그런데 말이죠. 어린 아이로서 이런 상상의 나래를 펼 수 있는 건 I think it's a good thing, right? Okay, today 오늘은요. There are lots of kids that we're gonna meet. 어린 시절의 모습들을 많이 이렇게 보게 될 건데요. Well, 지금은 다 어른이 됐지만 그들의 어린 시절에 what kind of lies did they tell? Their parents or teachers, whomever, 누구에게 거짓말을 하는 경우 as a child, 아이로서는 what kind of lies do they tell? 네, 이 부분에 대해서 같이 한번 보도록 하겠습니다. So, without too much ado, 너무 난리벌썩 떨 것 없이 일단 본론으로 들어가도록 하겠습니다. Okay, the first one, okay, we have to listen to Andrew's case. Andrew, what kind of lie did he tell? Okay, when he was a child. Okay, why don't we listen to the part together?
Andrew.
Well, one lie I can remember from when I was younger, 12, 13, was when my friend and I tried to drive my dad's convertible. It was summer vacation, I think, so nobody was at home watching us, and we thought, why not? Why not take the car out for a spin? Well, anyway, it was a rainy day, and when we put it back in the garage, there was some mud on it. But I didn't notice until my dad got home and asked me, if I knew what that mud was all about. And I completely denied all knowledge of it. The mud, the car, everything.
All right. It was when Andrew was younger, right? He was not a child. 아이는 아니었지만요. He was a teenager back then, 13 or 14. And those teenagers, do you understand the psychology? Of course, you got through the years, right? Teenage years를 사신 그런 분들로서 여러분 10대들 다 지나셨습니까? 아니면 10대에 계신 분들도 계시겠죠? You understand the psychology of them, right? 그들의 심리를 이해를 하십니까? They want to be cool, right? So they try to be cool. 아주 멋져 보이기를 원하잖아요. So they sometimes want to do something that they're not allowed to do. 그들에게 허락되지 않은 것들을 하고 싶어하는 그런 경우가 굉장히 많은데, well, in this case, for question number 1, Andrew actually confessed that he drove the car. He drove the father's car, and I think it must have been a very, very fancy car. He said it was a convertible. What does convertible mean? Well, the word convertible means you can change that into some other thing, right? Convertible. But when it comes to an automobile, a convertible means an automobile with a folding roof, folding top. So sometimes you can use it as an open car, and other times you can use it as a regular car, right? So, wow, isn't that really fancy? So, Andrew wanted to drive that car deadly. And it was raining during the summertime, and there was nobody home, and he and his friends tried to drive the car. Actually, this is what happened. Okay, here he used the expression for a spin. What does for a spin mean? Spin? Spin is turning round and round. This is spin, right? For a spin means for a drive. Okay, so he wanted to take out the car for a spin. He wanted to drive the car, and there was nobody home. So he drove around and he returned the car into the garage. But later, there was kind of evidence. What was that? There was a mud on the car, but he did not recognize that until his father told him. Okay. Anyway, I don't know whether Dad found it out or not, but this is what Andrew said, and he said he did not acknowledge that he drove the car. Okay. Anyway, so as a teenager, they want to be cool, and that's why they want to drive the car and something like that. Well, as an adult to drive the car, it's actually nothing to drive a car. But, at that time, they want to do something that are not allowed to do, right? 뭐 금지된 것을 하는 것에 대해서 이렇게 짜릿함이 있잖아요. 10대들은. 그렇기 때문에 이제 차를 운전하고 싶었던 거죠. 아유, 근데 그 사고 났으면 큰일 날 뻔했어요. 그죠? Okay, why don't we go to number 2? Number 2는요, Paul의 케이스가 되겠습니다.
Paul. I have one memory of lying regularly as a child. Actually, it was to a priest. I was brought up Catholic, and from the age of 7, you had to go to confession every week and confess your sins. And when you're that age, first of all, you're not quite sure what a sin really is, So you just make things up, like you say, I swore, or I stole some cookies from the cookie jar. And strangely, what you end up doing is lying to the priest so that you've got something to say in your confession.
Okay. Well, I think Paul is so cute. Actually, he wants to say something during the confession of his. You know what confession is? Confession is from the verb confess. Confess. Okay, what does confess mean? Tell something inside one's heart to someone, right? So pour one's heart out to somebody. Well, there are something that we don't want to say, like, something embarrassing. 뭔가 우리를 당황하게, 좀 황당하게 하는 어떤 그런 것들은 얘기하고 싶어 하지 않잖아요. 그런 것까지 끄집어서 얘기하는 거 confess라고 얘기하죠. Well, let's say if you are in love with someone, well, you don't want to tell that you are in love with that person because, well, if he or she knows it, 만약에 그 상대가 알았다고 하면 좀 이렇게 그 사랑이 깨지거나 뭐 이럴 수 있잖아요. 그러니까 굉장히 조심스러워서 you don't want to confess what's in your heart, right? In that case. But, when it comes to the religious arena, well, Catholic, Paul was a Catholic, right? So he was brought up Catholic and he had to make a confession. Okay, in that case, like 고해성사, right? So he had to regularly, make this confession to the priest. But as a child, what does a child know about sin? Sin. What does sin mean? Okay, actually, we translate the sin as 죄, but, it's far different from crime, right? Crime is like a social concept, right? So if it's kind of a transgression of the social or community law. But when it comes to sin, it's a transgression, breaking the divine law. Okay, what does divine mean? Divine law means, like do's and don'ts. So we say like, oh, this is what God said, right? So God wants us to behave this way, but if you do not follow that, if you do not obey, that is sin, right? So it's far broader than the crime that we know as 죄, right? So 죄로서 우리가 알 수 있는 crime, 이거는 사회적인 거고요. sin은 종교적인 그런 관념에서 죄죠. 그래서 어떤 divine, 하늘에 있는 어떤 누군가의 말을 듣지 않았을 때 that is sin, right? But as a child, what does Paul know? 폴이 뭘 알았겠어요, 그 당시에요, 그죠? So he didn't know what to tell. 어떤 얘기를 해야 될지 몰라서 actually he made a story up. 얘기를 그냥 지어냈다는 거죠. So what kind of story did he make? Well, I swore. What does I swore mean? 나쁜 욕을 했다는 얘기죠. I swore. And I stole a cookie from the cookie jar. Do you know this? Who stole the cookies from the cookie jar? Jane did. No, I didn't. Do you know this one? Okay, anyway, so he got this idea from that one, maybe. And he said, Oh, I stole the cookies from the cookie jar. Oh, I want to confess my sin. He said that in front of the priest, and then I think the priest might have known that Paul was lying back then, but it was so cute, wasn't it, right? 굉장히 귀엽다고 봤을 것 같아요. 거짓말하는 거구나 얘가. 좀 약간 거짓말이 좀 서투를 수도 있었겠죠. Anyway, I think it was very, very cute. And Paul regularly lied to the priest, and he recalled that, right? I think it was one of the most memorable lies for him. Okay, and I think it's time for us to solve the questions. Why don't we solve question 1 and 2 together? And before we go to number 3. Number 1. Andrew was driving the car when his father came home? No. Actually, he returned the car into the garage. And he pretended as if he did not drive the car. But the thing is, his father found those mud on the car. So what happened to the car? There's a mud on it. Well, I don't know anything about it. This is what Andrew said, right? So Andrew had finished driving the car when his father came home. So you have to say, Andrew had finished driving the car when his father came home. Okay? And how about number 2? Paul only lied once? No. Every time he went to see this priest in order to confess his sin, he lied. So he lied regularly, right? So he regularly lied as a child because why? Because he wanted to tell something to the priest, but he didn't know what, right? So actually he lied. He made up a story and he said, oh, I did this wrong. I did this wrong, right? I made a mistake. I should have done this. And he made all those stories like that, right? I think it was so cute. Anyway, why don't we go to number 3? Carolyn, what kind of lie did he do? Did she do, actually?
Carolyn.
I can think of a time recently when I had to tell a white lie, which was basically when a friend of mine got married. They actually got married in London because her husband's British, so I didn't go to the wedding. But they were showing me the photos and, well, basically, she looked awful. She had a really frumpy dress on. It did nothing for her figure. But, obviously, you can't just say that when you see someone's wedding pictures. So I was like, hey, that's really pretty. You look really great.
Oh, this is kind of a lie that I hear often. People around me tell me from time to time that, oh, you look good. I like your hairstyle. No. You did a good job. Something like that. They just want to cheer me up because, if I'm discouraged, I cannot, be a good teacher or, there might be kind of a problem shooting this lesson or something like that. Maybe our producer or, manager outside, they think, oh, your hair is perfect. And, what's inside their mind is, oh, I don't like her hairstyle or something like that. Anyway, what happened here was Carolyn, she, her friend, maybe her one of her closest friend or, someone, she got married in London, right, in England. But she didn't go there because, I think she did not mention it here, but maybe because the plane fare was too expensive for her. Okay, anyway, she didn't go there, but she saw these photos of the wedding. And then what she found in the photo is, she had this frumpy dress. What does frumpy mean? Old-fashioned, not fancy at all, right? 별로 멋지지 않은 아주 그냥 구닥다리에 좀 뭔가 옷이 세련되지 않은 그런 옷을 입고 있었어요. Frumpy. So she had a frumpy dress, and then she looked awful. What does awful mean? Awful. Even though you don't know what awful means, if you hear the sound, oh, it looked so awful, right? Awful. 아주 끔찍했어요. But actually, she didn't want to hurt the feelings of the bride. 그 신부였던 그 친구의 감정을 상하게 하고 싶지 않잖아요. 그죠? 솔직히 말하면, honestly, I think you look awful. You can say that. But what kind of response would you get if you said so? 그렇게 말한다면은 어떤 반응을 얻으시겠어요? Well, how can you say that to me? You know? This was kind of a once in my lifetime chance for take this picture, this wedding picture. 좀 별로 안 좋게 나왔더라도 좀 좋게 얘기를 해줘야 되는 거 아니야? 뭐 이런 식의 얘기할 수 있겠죠. 그래서 in that case, I think we'd better say just, you look nice, wonderful, great. We have to say that, right? And one of the expressions she used is, it did nothing for her figure. What does that mean? It did nothing for her figure means, oh, well, the dress did not make her look good, look okay, or look pretty. It did not help her at all, right? So it did nothing to her figure. 뭐 별로 잘 나오게 하지 않았다, 예뻐 보이게 하지 않았다, right? So when your friend was wearing that kind of dress at the wedding, I think of course you have to say, "Oh, you look wonderful." I think this is kind of a formula that the kind of pattern that you have to say at the wedding. 웨딩에서요, 신랑한테는요, congratulations 이렇게 얘기하죠. 그런데요, 신부한테는 congratulations 얘기하지 않고요, 항상 공식적으로 beautiful bride. 이렇게 얘기합니다. Beautiful bride. So even though you think she looks really awful, you have to say beautiful bride. Okay? So this is a way that we can be polite at the wedding. Alright. I think it's kind of a white lie. 이런 종류의 그 lie는 it's kind of innocent, harmless lie. So I think this kind of lie is good. What do you think? Anyway, why don't we go to number 3? Caroline went to London for her sister's wedding? No. Well, she didn't go to London, right? To her friend's wedding. So friend's wedding에 런던에 가지 못했어요. We don't know why, but we can guess, right? 친구가 미국에서 결혼한다고 다 갈 수 있는 건 아니죠. Because, well, the thing is, I don't have time. 이지만 I don't have money either. 돈도 없기 때문에 갈 수 없을 수도 있겠죠. Okay. Anyway, and now it's time for us to listen to Kiki.
Kiki.
One lie I can remember telling was when I lost a necklace that my grandmother had made for me. And I know where I lost it. I lost it at a party because I was having a very good time and wasn't taking care of it, and I lied and told her it had been stolen in a robbery we had at our house. And to this day, I've never told her what happened to it. But sometimes when she mentions things like, "Oh, I should get you another one," it comes back to me.
Well, I wish my grandma can make a necklace for me. 그럼 좋겠네요. Okay. Just like Kiki's grandma, I wish my grandma could make me a necklace. Kiki's grandma actually had made her a necklace, but she lost it. Where? Well, she was kind of partying and she was enjoying herself too much, and then she did not take care of the necklace she was wearing, and she lost it at the party. But, if her grandmother would have listened, would have heard how she lost her necklace, maybe she would have been very, very, very disappointed. So, what did she do? Well, she lied. She lied to the grandmother. Okay, how? Well, she said, "Oh, I was robbed. Actually, the necklace was stolen. Somebody broke into my house and he stole my necklace." Right? So, as if it was kind of an unfortunate accident. Not because of her carelessness, 뭔가 부주의해서가 아니라 마치 뭔가 unfortunate하게 불행한 사고로 잃어버린 것처럼 she actually lied to her grandma, right? But from time to time her grandma says, "Oh, I could get you another one." What does that mean? 아이고, 하나 더 만들어줘야 되는데, right? So every time she hears that, well, she feels like, "Oh, I feel really guilty," right? It comes back to me. She said, "Oh," 막 죄책감이 드는 거죠, right? Okay, anyway, so when it comes to Kiki's case, Kiki finally told the grandmother the truth? No, she never told the grandmother the truth. What is the truth? She lost the necklace at the party, right? She did not take care of it, and she lost it while enjoying herself way too much, right? So she was careless. Anyway, 진실을 말했다면 어떻게 됐을까요? 할머니가 하나 만들어줬었을 것 같아요. Because grandma, grandmas are very, very loving, right? 사랑을 많이 주시는 분들이시니까요. Okay, why don't we go to Sean's case? Let's listen to Sean.
Sean.
One lie I can remember is when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I was in the playground, and I was just about to get into a fight, and the only way I could think of to escape was to say, "You can't hit me. I know karate." I don't know where that came from. I'd never done karate in my life, but people left me alone because of it. Oh, but then the other kids wanted to take karate too. And eventually, somebody's mom called my mom to get all the details, which was when I had to admit that it was all a lie.
How smart he is! 이럴 때는 이 정도의 거짓말을 해주는 센스 아주 필요한 것 같습니다. Well, when he was 5 or 6, when he was a kid, 아이였을 때, he was about to get into this fight. 누군가 이렇게 그 싸움을 하기 직전에 he said, "You can't hit me. I know karate." What does that mean? 나 때릴 수 없어. I know karate. Karate is karate, right? It's just like taekwondo in Korea, right? So it's Japanese martial art, right? And Korean martial art, you know what 무술 is, right? Martial arts. So one of the Korean martial arts is taekwondo, right? So it's like, I know taekwondo, you can't hit me. It's almost like that. And they were kind of scared. And they said, okay. And they left him alone when he said this. Of course, it was kind of a lie. He didn't do karate, right? So he didn't know anything about karate, but he just said that. 그냥 얘기를 한 거죠. 나 karate 알아. 이렇게 얘기한 거죠. I did the same thing too. But actually, I had this white belt in taekwondo. taekwondo 하면서 white belt였거든요. But I was so proud of it. And I said, "You can't hit me. Look at my belt," and something like that. But, white belt is actually nothing. But I was so proud of it, and I act as if I could beat anybody. But of course, I told you last time that I had a black eye, and I told my mom a lie that I bumped into this wall, but actually I got hit by this guys. Anyway, but I was so proud of the white belt. But I think Sean was very smart to tell that kind of a lie, and he was out of the trouble because of that lie, right? So smart, Sean. Okay, why don't we go to number 5 together and solve the question? Sean took karate lessons at school? No. He didn't know anything about karate. But actually, he knew this word, karate, and "You can hit me. I know karate," right? That's just, what he said. He doesn't know anything about karate. So you can change this into a negative sentence, which is, Sean didn't take karate lessons, right? 근데 나중에 거짓말하니까 들통나죠. How? Well, some of his friends wanted to learn karate. I want to learn karate like Sean. And, maybe they said to their moms. And, one of the moms called Sean's mom. Sean의 엄마에게 전화를 했죠. And, of course, they knew at that time that it was Sean's lie. Sean이 거짓말했다는 걸 알게 된 거죠. Okay, 좋습니다. Why don't we listen to the last lie, 마지막 거짓말, 케이트의 거짓말에 대해서 들어보죠.
Kate.
I remember once I was maybe 5 years old, and I had been playing with my toys in my room, and our pet cat was there by the toy box. And for some reason, I put him in the box and forgot about him. I was just a kid, I just forgot. And hours later, my mother asked me where the cat was, and suddenly I remembered. I felt awful. So I lied and said that I hadn't seen him, hadn't played with him. And I probably said, "And I didn't put him in the toy box," because my mother went there and found him. Luckily, he was all right, just a little hungry and scared.
Well, actually, Kate's lie was about her pet cat. Pet cat, 애완용 고양이에 관한 거짓말인데요. What was it? Actually, she was playing in a room and found this pet cat next to a toy box. toy box 옆에 이 패킷을 발견해가지고 she actually put it in the box. Why? Well, she mentioned for some reason, which means she does not remember, well, why she put that into the box. But, for some reason, she put it into the box. And hours later, she forgot completely. And hours later, her mother asked her, did you see the pet cat? Where is the cat? And she remembered that, right? But she was kind of afraid. What if my mom scold me? 엄마가 나 혼내면 어떡하지? 뭐 그런 생각에 she said, I haven't seen her. I haven't played with her. That's what she said. But, this is kind of a storytelling. And she said, I said is kind of a past tense. So what you have to say is, I said I hadn't seen her, right? I said I hadn't played with her. This is what she said. And what did she say also? Isn't it really cute? She said, I didn't put it in the toy box. This is what she said. And, her mom found out where the cat was. So, 저 장난감 박스에다가 고양이 안 넣었어요, right? So, when kids are lying, sometimes they tell us the clue that they are kind of lying. 그 아이들이 거짓말할 때는 우리에게 힌트를 주죠. 그들이 거짓말한다고. 왜냐하면 완벽하게 이야기를 다 연결시킬 수 없기 때문에. Actually, in order to lie, 거짓말하려면요, you should be really brilliant. 기억을 다 해야 돼요. 거짓말한 거를. 그래가지고 you have to make a story. 모순이 없이 그 스토리를 다 만들어야 되기 때문에 you have to remember everything and you have to make up a story based on the lies that you made before, right? So, I think it's kind of complicating. So the reason that I don't lie that often is because I'm very simple. Anyway, why don't we go to number 6? Kate's mother never discovered the truth. No, she discovered the truth. How? Well, Kate said, I didn't put it into the box. I didn't put it into the toy box. That's what she said. And she got the clue from there and she found this cat in the toy box. Actually, it was hours and hours later, but, luckily the cat was okay. Just a little scared and hungry. Right? Okay, so you can change this one as Kate's mother did discover the cat, right? So we can change this into a positive, right? A formative sentence instead of a negative. Okay, wow. So what kind of memorable lie did you tell someone in the past? Okay, you can write it down and you can tell somebody, your partner or somebody who you study with in English, of course, and that will improve your English skill greatly. Okay, it's based on your experience and you can, tell those ready-made expressions to someone around you and they might say like, wow, your English is really good, right? So the more ready-made expressions you have, the more you can speak fluently. This is kind of a secret to English fluency. Don't you think so? Okay. Anyway, it's time for us to go to number 3. Let's go to number 3. Listen again and answer the questions. Okay, you can listen to this again with your tape and then let's do it together now. Okay? So for those of you who did not listen to this part again or who want to listen to this part again, you can stop and you can listen to this part and you can play me again, okay? You know what I mean? Okay. Now, let's go from number 1. Number 1, Andrew says, I completely denied all knowledge. Of what? Well, about the mud on the car. And I don't know anything about the mud, I don't know why the mud is on the car. This is what he said. And how had he tried to hide the evidence? Well, he actually denied and he said, I don't know anything about this mud by denying the fact that he drove the car himself. Okay, and number 2, Paul said, strangely, what you end up doing is lying so that you've got something to say. Okay, lying to who? Well, Paul lied to the priest, right? And when? Well, when he had to make this confession to him, right? And why is it strange? Well, it's really funny because he's making a sin. Actually, he's committing sins by telling the priest a lie, right? So the reason that he lied is because he could not find anything that he sinned, right? But, by telling the priest a lie, he's sinning, right? Maybe the next week he can come to this priest and said, what I said last week was a lie. And that's kind of my sin. And then it can be like a truth. Isn't it really weird, right? Number 3, Caroline said, I had to tell a white lie. Oh, why? Oh, what was it? Oh, you look wonderful. You look great. You look fantastic. That kind of lie was a white lie. Why is it a white lie? Because she didn't want to hurt the feelings of her friend, right? And why was it a white lie? I told you. And what did nothing for whose figure? Well, the dress. The frumpy dress did nothing for her figure. What does that mean? It did not make her look good, right? And number 4, Kiki says, I know where I lost it. What did she lose? She lost the necklace that her grandmother had made for her, right? And where did she lose it? Oh, at the party. Shh, don't tell the grandma. She'll be really shocked. Right? And what was her lie? She said, I lost it. Well, I did not lose it, but the thing is, somebody broke into my house and I was stolen in a robbery. Something like that. That's what she said. Isn't it like a terrible lie? And let's go to number 5. Sean said, somebody's mom called my mom to get all the details. To get details of what? About the karate lessons that Sean, allegedly, that Sean is taking, right? And why did he lie in the first place? The reason he lied is because he wanted to avoid the fight. So he was about to get into this fight and said, I know karate, right? Okay, number 6, Kay says, I put him in the box and forgot about him. Who did she put in the box? The pet cat. The poor thing. It was just sitting next to the toy box and, Kate came and grabbed it and put it into the box, right? So, the poor pet cat, he or she, I don't know, male or female, okay, he was put into the toy box. Okay. Which box? Toy box, I told you, right? And how does she excuse her behavior? Oh, well, she said, I was a kid back then, right? And, she excuses her behavior because I didn't know anything because I was so young back then, something like that. So, I was a kid. That means I was too young to know what to do with a pet cat, right? Anyway. Okay, so that was number 3, and it's time for us to go to number 4. Number 4, in the box we see lots of vocabulary here, and let's match some of the vocabularies with the stories, okay? Confession. Confession is actually related to number 2, Paul. So, Paul actually made a confession. He went to confession, means as a Catholic, he had to, say he actually has to tell the priest what he did wrong, right? Okay. And frumpy, frumpy dress. Do you remember it? Frumpy dress is not stylish, out of fashion, not neat, not pretty at all. 그런 dress를 frumpy dress라고 얘기하죠. What is related to frumpy dress? Well, Caroline's case, right? So Caroline went to her friend's wedding, right? And she was wearing a frumpy dress. And she looked really awful, but she lied. Okay, and why don't we go to the next one? Toy box. Toy box is related to who? Kate. Kate, she put the pet cat in the toy box. And garage. Oh, garage is related to who? Andrew. Andrew actually returned the car into the garage, but actually he did not recognize about the mud on it. It was an evidence that our father found out somebody drove the car. And a robbery. There was a robbery, It's not that I lost it at a party, but somebody broke into my house and stole it. That was kind of a robbery. Who said that? Kiki. Kiki said that to her grandma. And Cookies. I stole the cookies from the cookie jar. That was my scene. Well, so while he was confessing, he said, I stole my cookies from the cookie jar and I swore, something like that. Who said that? Well, cookies, Paul. Paul said that, right? And Maud is related to Andrew, number 1. And necklace, Kiki, right? And the playground, Sean. So Sean was playing in the playground and he was about to get into this fight, he said, right? While playing in the playground. So it's related to Sean's case, which is number 5. And pictures. Okay, pictures is related to Carolyn. She could not make it to London to attend her friend's wedding. But the thing is, she looked at this picture afterwards and then awful, right? So she felt that her friends looked really awful in the picture. So it's related to number 3 case, Carolyn's lie. And convertible. Whose car was convertible? Well, Andrew's father's car was convertible. What is the definition of a convertible? Well, an automobile with a folding top. Okay, so sometimes you can use it as an open car, in regular car, and something like that. And hungry and scared. Who was hungry and scared in our stories today? Well, the cat. The pet cat was scared and hungry. After hours and hours that he or she was put into this box, Kate's mother found it. Luckily, right? 운이 좋게도 그 케이트의 어머니가 발견했죠. And the last one is what? Sins. I gave you the definition of sin. Sin, transgression of divine law. And crime is transgression of social law, right? So what is more serious? Well, we think that crime is more serious because 왜 crime이 더 serious하다고 생각하죠? Because you'll go to jail or you'll be in trouble. You have to be fined or something. But when it comes to sins, well, we don't actually feel immediate response from God or anything, so we think, oh, it's not a big deal. But some people feel that is a big deal, like Catholic who make a confession to the priests. Okay, so we solved number 4 too. Wow, today we talked about memorable lies, right? And why don't you talk about the most memorable lies of yours and then write it down, as I told you before, and that way you can improve your English greatly, okay? All right, and promise me that you're never gonna lie, and tell me that you will finish this course, okay? 이 코र्스를 여러분이 다 끝낼 거라고 저한테 약속해 주시고요. 그건 거짓말이 아니라는 것을 확실히 해주시기 바랍니다, okay? All right, and I'm gonna wrap it up here today. 오늘은 여기서 정리를 하도록 하겠습니다. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Bye.